Hi, my name is Steven. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. I just wanted to start things off tonight by telling a little story about my other night at work. So, I work in a deli in Chester. I make about 100 sandwiches roughly a day. I cut a lot of meat all day for people for lunch meat sandwiches. I also fry chicken and french fries and stuff like that. It was a very exhausting day. I burnt my hand a couple times, cut it a couple times. It's just a very exhausting day that we all have. So I came home and wanted to relax, right? After a long day, I wanted to come home, put my feet up, watch some TV, go to bed. Walking through the front door, I saw that my brother had video games on the big screen TV. And this confused me a little bit because he doesn't play video games on our TV. He doesn't play Xbox or anything like that. He plays computer games. So I inquired about it, and he said that ESPN was showing esports. Well, this kind of made me wonder, why doesn't esports or ESPN do esports constantly? Is it just because the coronavirus right now and Major League Sporting is canceled? So that got me wondering, what was the reason? Is there no money to be made? Not enough big enough fan base? Or do they not think athletes train hard enough in esports? Well, let's take a look at the money issue. So, esports is not as big as traditional sports, but still nothing to scoff at. Yadiris Molina is the highest paid St. Louis Cardinal. He made roughly $166 million per month. Tyler Blevins, also known as Ninja, is arguably the highest paid professional esports player. He makes approximately $300,000 per month as a Twitch TV streamer. Peter Peng, also known as Doublelift, is one of the highest paid League of Legends players with a salary of approximately $300,000 per year, an estimated $440,000 per year in YouTube ads, and an estimated $112,000 per month in Twitch TV streaming revenue. Total monthly salary of approximately $174,000. Obviously, not as much as the MLB makes, but still it's still a pretty decent amount. So let's look at the esports versus the MLB. MLB in 2018 generated approximately $9.9 billion in revenue, while in 2016, esports competitions generated an estimated $905 million in revenue. While only a tenth of what the MLB made, the $905 million in revenue does not take into consideration streaming or YouTube profits made by the professional video games and only considers the tournament revenue. So now we know there is some money to be made. How about the fan base? Is it there? In 2018, MLB had an annual viewership of 79 million fans. The NBA had an annual viewership of 63 million. The NHL had an annual viewership of 32 million. The MLS had an annual viewership of 16 million. Esports in the United States alone, that's just the United States, right, had an annual viewership of 84 million, dwarfed only by NFL at a whopping 141 million fans tuning in 2018. Let's take a closer look at the biggest games for each sport, biggest matches. In 2017, the NBA Final Games 5, or Game 5 in the NBA Finals, had an estimated 30,800,000 viewers. The MLB World Series had 28,240,000 viewers, and the NCAA Basketball National Championship had 22,998,000 viewers. League of Legends World Championship had a whopping 60 million viewers, only to be beaten by the Super Bowl, which had obviously 111.9 million. Super Bowl's always higher. But that fan base is for the esports is just in the United States alone, which is arguably the lowest amount of fans in the esport communities, and it has nothing to be compared with most Asian countries. Well, there are plenty of fans. So, do the athletes train as hard? Major League Baseball athletes don't have a set training schedule for the off season. They simply just work out 3 hours a day, just enough to stay in shape for the next season. During the off season, Bryce Harper, an outfielder for the Nationals, typically works out for approximately 3 hours before a game. This workout includes batting practice, stretching, and plyometrics. Players on Team Liquid in a League of Legends US Pro Team practices for a minimum of 50 hours per week, mandatory, with many more of them solo queuing, a lot more. So solo queue, if you don't know, is when you play solo, you don't play with another teammate, and you play against a random person to kind of hone your skills. While the practicing schedules are vastly different, with esports requiring more time, the argument is often made that because it's not physically demanding for the esport players to practice, because they're just sitting in a chair looking at a screen, that it's not as hard as a 3-hour workout in a gym. I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever stared at a computer screen for more than 2 or 3 hours at a time, it's very draining and it starts to take its toll. So let's take a look. Well, it looks like esports athletes train as hard, if not harder. Minimum 8 hours, some going as high as 14 hours daily. It would appear there is a large growing fan base. More annual viewers in the US than every other sport except for the NFL. More than double the amount of viewers of all final sporting events, i.e. the World Series, NBA final games, etc., except for the Super Bowl. Obviously, NFL is always on top. While esport hasn't surpassed traditional sports in money made per year, at the moment, MLB players' salaries still, like Molina's, dwarf the salaries of even the best esport players. But what drives that salary is the fans. Their willingness to go to an arena and pay hundreds of dollars for a seat. Hundreds of dollars on nachos, beer, hot dogs, whatever you want at the game, That's the reason they make so much money. As we go on and more fans start going to esports, they'll be filling up more arenas just like baseball does. The fans will be more willing to pay for the beer, the hot dog, the nachos to watch their favorite teams play. So it's high time that we consider esports a real sport and give it its place permanently on stations like ESPN.